This video is intended to be the start of a series of lectures on war in Civ V, particularly for the Lekmod family of mods. This should include NQ Free-For-All, Skirmish, and, most importantly, Civ V mod. What are the goals of these videos? I want to address specifically wars where both sides have a chance of winning. That is, wars where both participants are roughly at parity. I say both participants because this type of theory is not applicable to free-for-all games. I'll address this later. I also want to present a holistic theory of attritional warfare. I don't want to just talk about tips and tricks. I want to create an operational level vision of combat. I want to make these videos now because I think we've reached a relative plateau in war skill in the Civ V mod, and I want to preserve and pass on this knowledge, which is otherwise difficult to communicate. I also expect to be starting a new job soon, and once that happens, I don't know if I'll have time for any of this Civ stuff. It should be noted here that I am not the best person to be making these videos. I'm certainly not an authority on war in Civ 5, even in Civ V, which I have a lot of hours in. But it's good to get these sort of basics, this general theory down for people who might want to come later. The way this is going to work is that I will release, I think, about 2 videos a week, one of which covers a core topic that's listed on the left here, and one talking to another player, looking at some of their videos, seeing what we can get in practice from the tape. I actually haven't conscripted Malrose completely yet, but it's the sort of thing that he would love, so I assume I can get Malrose. War in free-for-all and war in a duel or teamer context are very, very different. War in free-for-all is about improving your position, so free-for-all wars want to be won quickly and efficiently without too much expenditure of resources. If your war drags out, other players become too strong. And it's difficult to create a consistent theory of war with the specter of teaming looming. There's a very commonly said statement when people are talking about free-for-all, oh, if I do this, I become too strong, and then I get teamed. And this is exactly the sort of thing I want to avoid. I want to be as strong as possible at every point that I'm talking about. Wars and duels, on the other hand, are straightforward in constructing theory. Gradually winning a war is just winning a war. Gradually losing a war is just losing. And this gives you the freedom to implement and execute long-term plans. Plans are permitted to have a limited operational scope and be useful. A successful free-for-all war requires quickly killing and assimilating the enemy or moving on to the next one. A good duel war just involves winning. The natural question then is, how do we actually win? It's useful for me, especially moving forward, to describe 3 levels at which you're thinking. The first is the tactical level. The tactical level I think about as being the small unit by unit interactions of the game. How do I win the game tactically? I win by inflicting more damage than I take, by healing more than the opponent does, and by combo clicking better than they do. These are all of the sort of unit by unit things that I care about. How do I win strategically? Strategic victory is also something I think that people have a pretty good command of. You strategically win by killing all the opponent's units, or at least killing enough that they can't stop you. If you can consistently establish local force superiority and then progress, you can win a war. And sometimes your strategic victory involves outscaling. Sometimes you're trying to get to a critical war technology. Sometimes you're trying to hit a war bonus like your Clousy. Sometimes you're just attempting to create more unit mass. These are all possibilities, but as I see it, free-for-all players have a good understanding of my small unit trades, what's important here, and my strategic victory, how do I win? I think what's really often missing in these war discussions is the middle level, the operational level. The operational level is about things like establishing your correct front line, about creating a blockade. It's about when do I citadel? Why do I citadel? Which cities are worth pushing? When I push, how do I move past? What should my unit composition be? And these are all short-term goals with long-term payoffs. And that's exactly where I want to be focusing the series of videos. As I'm going through this, it'll be nice to have references on hand. If you're just someone who watches free-for-all, I think the free-for-all streamers who have the highest grasp of war are Arvius and Abraxas. That said, I don't think these kind of knockdown, drag-out, grindy, attritional wars occur very often in free-for-all because they're normally called air wars. If you want to look for more examples of these, you want to find them in teamers or in duels. In Skirm, Kuba and Conrad have both had competition at the highest level. I'm going to link some of their fights below in the description for this video. And in Weavy, I think players like Achilles and Malros have a really, really strong operational understanding of war. And a lot of the way I've come to fight these wars comes from watching people like Kuba, Conrad, Achilles, Malros. So I'm going to link some of those videos to watch. So my current plan is I'll post this video, then sometime later this week I'll post a video where Nightstone and I talk about one of the wars that he's done, and then a week later I'll talk about the first concept in that list, which is total army strength. There's a lot of things to possibly discuss here, and this is where it would be very helpful for me if you're someone who is watching this to reach out and tell me in the comments or PM me on Discord, because you probably know me on Discord, to say this is the sort of thing I'm thinking about and this is what I think you might be able to elaborate on. This is an opportunity for something relatively collaborative.